So as an official, you have to a lot of times I do clerking, which means checking them in, making sure they get their bid numbers, hip numbers, and go out on the track to run, or go to the field events and I've worked field events, shot put, high jump. So there are different areas that you have to have expertise in to know how to run those events.
Right, right. The one thing when I was there to support my friend, with her son
Hmm.
coming, and when I found out that the people were from different places around Georgia, it made me think about these people. It's different than like the high schools coming together. You don't know the level that the person is running beside you, because you
No,
don't know who they are. So that makes it interesting. And, one thing about her son, now he chose to run in two races. One was the 1600-meter and one was the 2-mile race.
hmm
Um, and he has a little bit of asthma and needed to, like, he had a little bit of an inhaler before he started. I was coming in once his first race was done, and I heard his name. They announced it over the speaker. He was in first place, and
Oh,
and then the second race, with a 2-mile, he was like half the track ahead of the rest of the pack when he first started. And then I thought, okay, well, this is the first lap. There's still seven. But he maintained that distance, that lead, about the same lead the whole time. I mean, that is amazing when you also have like a little bit of asthma as well. I mean, that's just amazing to me.
yeah, it is. My older daughter had asthma. She did the heptathlon, and she was a lot like Jackie Joyner Kersee, who also had asthma, but she was an Olympian, and she used her inhaler. But then there are a lot of things that you can't use because of uh, they make sure that you have to be drug tested and all that. So you have to be careful about what you use when you do have
Right.
things like asthma or other conditions,
Mhm.
because of rules and regulations in USA Track and Field. They're very strict on drug testing, because I've seen some kids get um, put out because they use Robitussin, which
Yeah.
you can't use that. So you have to be very careful about knowing what drugs you can use and what drugs your child can use when they
Mhm.
have problems. You think they got a cold, and mother gives them Robitussin, and then they don't pass the drug test too. So,
Wow.
those are
Well,
things you have to learn and know with being involved in track and field. Yeah.
that's good. That's good to know. And
Mm.
I remember Jackie Joyner Kersee, and I did not realize that she had asthma. She was
Yeah,
quite a runner.
she was. And I met her when my daughter was participating in the pentathlon when she was 12 years old, and she actually autographed her bib number. And when she was at the National Junior Olympics doing the pentathlon, and then she worked up to the heptathlon, which is what Jackie Joyner Kersee did.
That's
And so,
amazing. What an amazing experience, right?
yeah, it was, and it took me all over the country. We got, because they had the Junior Olympics in different places. One year is on the West Coast, and one is in the middle of the country, and one is on the East Coast. So that we rotate around, and it's at different places. So it's been quite an experience being involved, not only with my children, but even after they finished, I'm still involved and still travel all over the country with that.
That's
And it
amazing.
keeps me in shape.
It does. It does. Which kind of leads into our next question. With the other activities you do, you do activities every day. You work out every day. What are some of the other things during the week that you do on a regular weekly basis?
Well, I go to the Tim D. Lee Senior Center, that's around the corner, involved in activities there. On Mondays, I take kettlebell training, which is to lift a kettlebell. It's like a It looks almost like a bowling ball with a handle on it, and you do weights with that.
Mhm.
On Tuesdays, I leave for Bible study, so I take Bible study at a Piedmont church with a ladies group. Wednesdays, I do Tai Chi and I do Zumba, which I like. Um, and if I can, I go to a line dance class that they have that's free, so I go when I can. And then on Thursdays, I do strength training. And then Fridays, I do running. So I
Wow.
try to do something every day. So, but the senior center also have classes that you can take, not just physical activities, but little workshops. I went to one in last week on what was the name of it? It was just a social activity for Valentine's Day. They had an ice cream social for that. So I participate in those, but I'm also on the Cobb County Senior Council. And we are an advocate for senior activities also in Cobb to make sure seniors stay healthy and informed of things. We had a workshop uh, about a month ago on how to downsize and how to organize and declutter your home because it's a lot of seniors. You know, we save everything, and and even when the kids are gone, you still have all the things left from the families and all. So we did a program on decluttering and downsizing, which was a lot of fun. Um, we also have National Senior Day, which is a program that was enacted by President Reagan to recognize seniors who do volunteer work. And I've been in charge of that program every year. So we have a banquet and we have entertainment and a luncheon, and we recognize seniors who volunteer each year. We select 6 people uh, throughout the county that have done volunteer work, and we have the Cobb County commissioners present them with a plaque recognizing their activities. So I do that.
That's awesome. Now you mentioned there's another thing through the senior citizen council that you raise money for.
This is our Vials of Life program. Can you see it
Not
on the
yet.
screen? Oh,
There we go.
there you go.
Yeah.
It's a Vials of Life program. It's a folder. You get 2 stickers. One you put on your front door that say Vows of Life,
There it is.
and one you put on your refrigerator. So
Hmm.
if there's an emergency, you'll have this little packet filled out with all of your vital information, your emergency contacts, your doctors, your who to contact if there's an emergency. You even have your pharmacy's names, all the medications that you're on, uh, any allergies that you have, and you keep this in a little folder in your refrigerator. So if there's ever an emergency, the EMTs know that if they see this Vows of Life, they know to go to your refrigerator and get all this information. Because many times with seniors, if they pass out or something at home and they can't talk, then they don't know what this information is. So we've been sponsoring this for years and even got applied for another grant to get the stickers and the forms and everything. And even during COVID, we found out when we did a survey from our from the Cobb County Senior Council, we found that there were many seniors that were at home that when they called their doctors and said, well, I don't feel well. Do you have a fever? Well, I don't know. Do you have a thermometer? No, I don't have one. So we did a grant to get thermometers, uh, uh, hand sanitizing, and masks to go into our package for Vials of Life. And we gave those out to as many seniors as we could. We also partnered with Meals on Wheels. So when they took Meals on Wheels to people, they gave them these Vials of Life packages, and they've been lifesavers. Even the Cobb EMTs would say, "Hey, that's been a lifesaver for us because when we go, we can pull the information that we can't get, and a lot of times, if if they're elderly and they have a spouse, they may not even remember what medicines they're on or what. So we encourage everybody, every senior, to have one of those in their homes and on their door, so they would know. So that's one of the big programs that I've been working on and helping sponsor and writing grants to get more money to do that.
That's awesome. And like I told you, I'm working on a project to help sheriffs to connect with the different things they do with the different offices. They all have different outreach things they do. And I'm gonna share what you're doing with them and put it a part of some of my suggestions for them. One other thing that I see that some of them have adopted that you might be interested in is Project Lifesaver. And that is it's like a bracelet. People can sign up for it. And most of the sheriff's websites that do it, they can go to the website and then sign up for it. And what it will do is it's more for like Alzheimer's or dementia patients or Down syndrome, people with Down syndrome, autistic people. And then like for me, my epilepsy, even for that, what it does is if the person is missing, it helps them to locate it with that bracelet. And the reports that they've showed where they've used that, they find the person within 20 minutes time.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be a good thing possibly for some of the seniors is a Project Lifesaver. At Piedmont, there's something that you've done here recently where you sponsored one of our outreach opportunities that we do with the schools, and you were a part of that in a special way. What is the program, the outreach program called, and what did you do?
Well, we have what we call sensory rooms that we've sponsored. Right now, I think we're at 49 schools and in Cobb County, including the city of Marietta. And each school sensory room costs about $2,500, $3,000 to put in all the materials and things you want in a school. Recently, I funded, well, actually, this was my third school that I've fully sponsored for Piedmont, and it was Mountain View Elementary School, and they had a large room available, so we came in and put in all the materials that they needed to have a good sensory room. And they had the ribbon cutting and dedication, and I was invited, and they actually put a plaque on the outside of the room saying it was donated by Inez Finch. I was one of the past PTA presidents of Mountain View School, and I was the first Black PTA president they ever had. And so I wanted to give back to that school. So I made sure that I donated fully the money to put in a sensory room in Mountain View.
That's amazing.
And that's been part of things I've worked on at Piedmont Church. And matter of fact, I was just writing up to give my fourth one. So
that's amazing.
That's one of the things that I've just felt like to give back. I've been fortunate that, my husband passed. He left me with some benefits that I'm able to reach back and give back to the community. And that's part of what I've been doing with Piedmont Church, is sponsoring a sensory room each year.
That's amazing. It feels good doing that, doesn't it?
It does. And just to see the kids when they had the ribbon cutting to come in and how they they just seemed like they just lit up to come in that room, and they were just, oh, it was good to watch.
Oh,
And
I
it's
love
needed.
that.
It's needed. And I said, I wish they'd had it because my son was a little attention span deficit, and sometimes he needs that time out that that the room is used for, and they didn't have it then, so I'm glad to be a part of that now.
Yeah. I was able to help with two of the sensory rooms to be able to see putting the rooms together and seeing what that
Hmm.
looked like. And that was absolutely fun. You know.
Yeah.
Now I work in the Cherokee County and in the after school program. And I noticed the two schools that I've been a part of, they don't have sensory rooms there. And to me, I mean, that's sad because some of our after schoolers, they are autistic. For one thing, they're very smart.
Yeah.
And another thing is when they are having a difficult afternoon, just following what we're doing, what the some of the leaders in our group, they'll have them go a grade higher. And that seems to help them to kind of, I wouldn't say fit in better, but I think it calms their mood. And it
Mhm.
does something by being a grade above. I think it gives them a goal to work towards with the kids that are around them. They're not bored. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've noticed that they do better when they're a grade above just in the after school program.
A lot of the schools may have like a room, but they don't have the money. There's no funding in Cobb County really to do the sensory rooms, and that's a project because our community outreach pastor, Marlon Longacre, has three special need children himself, and his wife is a special ed teacher. That was one of their goals, was to make sure they had sensory rooms, and so to partner with them and to help them with that. I mean, that's what uh, they've done, and that's what I've helped with to actually do the funding for it. So,
Yeah, that's why it's special to us.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
And it is definitely, it makes a difference. And the kids, they just love it. Yeah.
Well, the teachers love it.
The teachers love it too. That's
The
right. They
teachers
do.
love it too.
Because it helps them too.
Yeah, it helps them too. Yeah.
Now, are there other ways that you volunteer in the community or even like through the church that we haven't talked about yet?
Well, I do volunteer work with a lot of the Love Doves programs at Piedmont. Each month, Piedmont Church has a special Love Doves program. One month is Undie Sunday, where you bring underwear. So I'll help with sorting out underwear and things to give. Or we do outreach like to the football teams and at the schools. We have lunches for them, or we have a special day for schools where they have their what do you call it, field day activities, and they need lunches. So we do hot dogs and hamburgers, and I work at the with the grill, and I don't do the grilling, I do the wrapping of the hot dogs, and we got a assembly line going, and we can wrap 1,000 hot dogs in a few minutes and take them over to the school to feed the kids. We've done that also for the sheriff's department and other things like that, just so thank you for helping in the community. We help others who help in our community too. So those are some of the things I've done. I also worked on the hospitality committee, which greets people coming into the church and make sure that they're comfortable coming in. I worked in nurseries and all years ago when I first started out working in the church. So I've done a lot of different areas of community outreach with Piedmont Church.
Now, I do the wrapping of hot dogs and hamburgers some too, at the concession stands.
Yeah.
And I know the next one's coming up, and well, one's coming up April 4th, and I'll be off that day. So I'm wanting to come and do that with the teachers there. Um, And then, like, I would love to come to do that the next time they do it for the sheriffs. I would love to
Okay.
be able to be a part of that one, especially since I'm working on a project for them. I would love to do that. But you're right. The hamburger and hot dog wrapping is the fun part.
It is. And then Piedmont does the egg drop every year for Easter, where all that they have the eggs that are dropped out of the helicopter onto the field at Sprayberry High School. And but we also, as the parents come in, we have them register so there are no lost kids, running there, and so that's part of our outreach. And we get a lot of and people who realize that we're there for them, and so some of them come to the church and later and join the church. So we have to be careful of the way we say things to make people feel comfortable that we're there for them when we're so we have little training programs of what we should do and what we should say and how we should say it to keep people involved with the Piedmont Church. The other thing is we have a big Christmas at Piedmont every year. It's a festival where we invite all the schools to sing, and they sing Christmas songs, and uh, and then we have a craft area where people bring crafts to sell, and so it's a real fun Christmas experience at Piedmont Church, and they need volunteers for that every year.
Oh, yes. And we volunteer
Mm,
for that as well. And that is really fun. It's
yeah,
really fun seeing all the families and all the kids come in. And it's amazing how big it's grown to be, you know?
yeah.
It's amazing. Now,
So
here not too long ago, just about a week or so ago, your boyfriend Frank celebrated it was his 80th birthday party, right?
yes, did
Please
you get?
tell us.
I sent you some pictures. Did you get them through? Did they come through
I
on
think
your
you
phone?
showed me on your phone.
No, I actually emailed them to you just today, so you may
Oh,
have. Okay, but
here.
Fra-
Okay.
Frank, I didn't know whether there was a way to put them up, so I sent them to see. But Frank turned 80 uh, years old, or years young. He's still very active at 80. And so I don't know whether it was show from my phone
Well,
in the pin.
let me see because I didn't get them. Okay, they're not emailed, but they're on here. They are on my message, and I
Mhm.
can I can show them. You talk to me about them, okay?
Okay.
Let me see. This is definitely different with this background I have. It's a virtual background. There,
Uh-huh.
there.
Well, that's his. I had two cakes. One is he's in the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. So one was his Omega Psi Phi fraternity birthday cake, and the other birthday cake was a cake with his picture on it. And
Let me
that's
see.
us together.
Let me see if
And the
I can
first
find it.
picture I sent was the table decorations. I decorated the whole place. We had about 140 people to attend. But that was a picture. The first picture was a picture of that one. It's all the table decorations. So I did everything in purple and gold. And you can see folded as a program. We had a program for his birthday, which I had three people to give a tribute. One was his sister, which represents the siblings. No, it was four. One to a niece that represents the nieces and nephews. Um, a childhood friend that gave it, and it's a guy that's gone from elementary school all the way through college with him. Spoke about those experiences, and then one guy spoke on his fraternity, and so and being a part of that. And then we had dancing and food and a good time.
There he is.
There he is sitting on the king's chair. That's what it was called.
I love
So,
it.
uh,
Oh my gosh.
so yeah,
And
so
you
he
you had how many people there?
130,
Oh my
140, I mean 140.
Oh my gosh. That is quite a party. And a couple of people I spoke to about it with him it being his 80th party, something I didn't think about. the older you get, you don't usually think about having a party that big with him celebrating his 80th birthday. Like that's a lot of people to come to his party.
It was, but he knows a lot of people. He's very involved in his church, and he's very involved in his community, and he's very involved in his fraternity.
Mm.
So just inviting a lot of those people were it was we actually invited 170, but 140 attended, because some people, his age, uh, can't travel and can't uh, move, are not very mobile. So,
Right.
but Frank, okay, I was married for 45 years, and Frank was married for 46 years when both of us lost our spouses.
Wow.
So our friends decided that we should be together.
I
and,
love it.
and so it's he's been a lot of fun, and he's still very active, and he likes to travel and do things. So it's been a good experience for me. I feel like, when you are elderly and you lose your spouse, you shouldn't just sit at home and do nothing and dwindle down. I feel like you should still be active, get out, keep moving, and keep going. And that's the way I feel about life. So, yeah.
And the title of this is that keep on moving. And I told you that my producer friend that's starting a Roku channel, that's where this idea came from. He wanted us to pick something we wanted to do. But this idea came from the veterans I've interviewed, that some of them that are in their 90s
Mhm.
continue to do different things. And one of them I just finished interviewing is my neighbor, and he is not going to be 95 this year, and he has a girlfriend. And he says, we are just boyfriend and girlfriend. That's what we're gonna
Yeah,
be. And
yeah,
and but he is active just like you every day. And the point I think that like I feel it's important for people to know that as you get older, if you get out and you get involved in different things and you do keep on moving, like that is longevity into your life. That is
yeah,
putting, fun and just even if it's hard medically to move, that's something my mother has always struggled with broken bones. And Miss Inez, I know you've had health issues as well. Um,
yeah.
but you overcome it and you just keep moving, you know?
Well, I've had problems with like high blood pressure, but I feel like the more active I am, the better I am. If I'm, just sitting around doing nothing, then, that's not good for my health.
No.
Um, so I try to stay active. And one of the things when I first met Frank after dinner, he said, "You want to go for a walk?" And I'm like, "Wow, a man who wants to go for a walk. I love it." So we go for walks every day. And he was always telling me how many steps he did. So I bought him a Fitbit. And I said, "Okay, now I want to see." So we compare every day how many steps we've done each day. And we both try to do at least 10,000 steps a day.
That's
So that
awesome.
so that keeps us going. And he said, "Oh, we're not going to drive down to the store. Let's walk." And I said, "Okay." So we go and walk down to Kroger or somewhere just after dinner, just for the exercise of doing it. And that's what you have to do when you get older. I mean, the government doesn't make it easy when you get older, about remarrying, because we did. You can only use one house for homestead. So, he has a home, I have a home. You can't get your homestead exemption off of two homes.
Mm,
Sometimes your social security benefits get cut if you get married.
mm.
Like my husband retired military. If I get married, I lose all my military benefits. So I'm just enjoying life with enjoying being with. We said we're engaged.
Yes, yes, yes.
And so we're committed. I just put
That's
it
right.
like that to each other.
That's right. I think it's just amazing. And I think that's just the way that a lot of people do, just for all the reasons that you were talking about. It's just shame that that's the way the government and the system runs. But I mean, you still are having fun and you're still together, you
Yes.
know, and that's the important part. Um, were there any other volunteer opportunities or projects that we haven't discussed during this interview?
Like I said, I'm still very involved in track and field. I'm still on the National Youth Committee, and I'm vice president of USA Track and Field for the state of Georgia.
Mm,
And I'm vice president of the Cobb County Senior Council.
mm,
So, and I'm still very involved in church. So,
that's
you
right.
know, I stay busy and I like to keep busy because
That's right.
and this year I will be celebrating my 78th birthday. So
Wow.
in a few more months. So, you know.
Wow. Now, before we finish this interview, and as we consider the title of this series, Keep On Moving, what are some words of wisdom or life advice that you would like to pass down to viewers who see this interview?
Well, no matter how old you are, just get out and walk if you do nothing else and just stay busy, stay involved in social things, talk to other people because that keeps your mind going and your mind flowing, and then the exercise keeps your body, because if you don't use it, you lose it.
You
That's
lose it. Absolutely.
so that's just my words of wisdom to everyone, to keep involved and keep me. And there's so many things that you can do in the community as volunteers, especially with young people these days. They need help too. So
Yeah.
stay involved.
I think, honestly, I think young people sometimes just need someone to sit by them and
Hmm.
just talk with them. They struggle. The
Yeah.
younger generation now struggles because society is harsher. But I think, that's a good thing that seniors can do and all of us can do, honestly. But just, for those who are lonely or just don't feel like they have anybody to connect with the younger generation because they need it just as much as you guys do, you
Yeah.
know? Uh,
And encourage others. I had a friend whose husband died last year, and I invited her to the birthday party, and she was like, "Well, I don't drive at night." I said, "Well, do you have someone that can drive?" And she said, "Yeah, I have a friend. You don't mind if I bring her?" I said, "No." She came to the party. She got out on the dance floor. She danced. She said, "Inez, that was the best thing that could have happened to me, was to come to that party, because that was the first time I've gotten out since my husband passed. And I just felt so good." And I said, "Well, I'm glad." And she said, "Plus, your caterer says, hey, there's plenty of food and some take home box." And she said, "So I could even eat for 2 days later."
that's
so,
awesome.
so you
That's
just have
awesome.
to, sometimes don't seem like you're meddling, but just encourage people to get out, because
Yes,
that's what they need to.
yes, yes, absolutely. Well, thank you, Miss Inez, for doing this with me. I so appreciate and have enjoyed hearing so much more about the things that you've done in the past and some of the things that you're still doing. I thank you so much for your time and for you being a part of the Keep On Moving series.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. You have a wonderful day, Miss Inez, and I'll
Thank
see
you.
you Sunday. Or I'll
You have
see
a
you
wonderful.
Wednesday on the Bible study.
Yes.
All
See you
right.
then. Bye.
Bye.